Okay, so to begin with here, I have a corridor already created with a pavement component in it and an overlay component there that'll fill in the gaps for me. And what I have is I have a kind of a temporary profile here that traces along the top of the terrain. And what I want to do is I want to raise this template section up so it gives me a minimum overlay of a half of a foot, zero point 0.5 feet above the existing ground. What I want to do is I want to analyze the template points, the right edge of pavement, center line, and left edge of pavement, and I want to raise them up so that it gives me a minimum of 0.5 among those three. So when I go and use this overlay vertical adjustment command, I'm going to say that my backbone thickness is a 0.5, so that gets me from the center line down to the bottom, and then I want a minimum overlay of 0. So I want to bring up the very bottom of this half a foot section up to where it's touching, it's giving me that minimum overlay of 0 there. So I'm going to say my backbone thickness is 0.5, my minimum overlay thickness is 0.0. Then I'm just going to run through the prompts here. First one is to locate corridor. Vertical name, I'm going to accept the default there, that's fine. I'm going to start at station 5, which is where my corridor starts, and I'm going to end at the end of the corridor. My backbone thickness, again, that's the thickness of my section, is a 0.5, and I'm not going to use labels for this case. And what I want to do there is I want to create a minimum overlay. So it's going to look at the 3 points I identify, it's going to compare those against the surface, and it's going to raise up and give me a vertical alignment here that'll get me that 0-foot overlay underneath this 0.5-foot section there. So minimum overlay is the method I'm choosing. 0 thickness. And okay, my range points on my template, left EOP is my left template range point. My right template range point is right edge of pavement. And what I want to do, I'm going to analyze the existing ground. I have some options here of how far I can. I can use linear geometries or feature definitions, or I can specify offsets. But what I'm going to do is just look within the range of the template that's there. So we're going to choose that. And then what are we going to analyze? We're going to analyze every little vertex in the terrain to get my minimum overlay. I don't want to do that. I want to just analyze these 3 points, left and right and center. So I'm going to say examine template points only. And we'll just accept those other defaults there. All right, so what it's done then is it's created a vertical now using the name that I specified. And this vertical will move my template up such that I have a 0 depth between the bottom of that half-foot section there. So all I have to do to apply that now is just come and select my new vertical alignment there. Let's get it selected in the view here. And I'm going to set it active. As soon as I set it active, we'll see my template pop up. And as I walk through the sections, I can look at those 3 points, and one of those 3 points are going to fall directly on the existing ground. In this case, it's the center line. And if I keep on going through, it looks like in this case, maybe it's the left edge of pavement that gives me that 0 overlay. And as I walk through, as I walk through, I can see that it's analyzed those 3 points, and it's found the point that gives me the minimum overlay. It's gone back and calculated the vertical to give me that depth. And then in my template, I have just my fixed pavement section of that half a foot, and then I created an overlay component underneath it to just fill in the gaps with some overlay material down to the existing conditions. If I wanted to, I could do some milling components also underneath the surface, but I didn't have those built in this template.